Hey, my name is Caleb Cutler and I'm Social Cypher's animator. I've had the opportunity to work on many facets of Ava Episode 1 over the past couple of years, but it all began in late 2019 with the animation of one special character. In this short video, I'll be showing you how I brought our hero, Ava, to life. The process began with character concepts given to me by our art director, Lucy. I used the proportions and colors given to me in this turnaround to develop Ava's sprite appearance. Because I knew she would appear quite small during platforming sections of the game, I thickened the lines and omitted some of the smallest details for the sake of simplicity. Another choice I made here was to present Ava from a 3/4 perspective. Though this wasn't a realistic decision, because I knew she would only move around in 2 dimensions, the angle let me imply some depth that might otherwise get flattened if she were facing right or left. The next step was to split this drawing up into its component parts. Each facial feature, piece of clothing, and tuft of hair lives on its own layer and had to be drawn completely, even if it got mostly covered up by the layer in front of it. The most dynamic parts, like the facial features, the feet, the hands, and the grappling hook, were drawn a number of times at this stage. I wanted to give the puppet I was building more flexibility when I entered the animation phase. Next, I imported the Photoshop file into After Effects. There I chose an anchor point for each layer that would let it spin around the appropriate joint. I also set up a hierarchy so that all parts were connected to their neighbors, leading back to an invisible parent object sitting at Ava's center of gravity. Though this setup took considerable time and has some inherent limitations, I was able to use it as a starting point for almost all of our hero's movements. At a later point in development, Ava was joined by her trusty companion Mup. Adding him to all her animations was one of my favorite parts of the job. I chose to animate using a puppet like this to conserve time, but honestly I've never really appreciated the rigid quality of puppet animation. In an attempt to transcend that lifeless appearance, I'd stretch the rig beyond its limits, add distortion effects to Ava's clothing and hair, and even give some special hand-drawn attention to frames after exporting. Some of her animations had to be drawn frame by frame entirely. Many of Ava and Mup's moves didn't even make an appearance in the game. Ava has only just started her adventure though, so stay tuned to All Things Social Cypher to see what she might do next.